Hey guys, Kira8428 here, and I'm here trying something a little different today. I wanted to try my hand at doing a challenge that I first came up with when I did a Darkrai reimagining kind of drawing a few months ago. And so I decided I was going to do a type challenge where I pick a random Pokemon and then randomize a new type to draw it in. So I'm going to generate, I guess, 3, and we'll see what we end up getting. So first we have Hitmontop. Okay, interesting. And its type is going to be Fairy. Okay. Interesting. I'll see what I can do with that then. Okay. Let's generate another. Love Disc. Love Disc. You useless, beautiful bastard. And its type is gonna be Grass and Ice. Interesting. Okay. Think I can work with that, maybe? Possibly. Alright, and let's do one more, and then we can get on with the drawings. Suicune. Oh, please be something good. That was gonna be Fairy Fire. Okay, I like that one. Alright then, I guess we've got our Pokemon to work with, and now we can get on with the drawings. Alright, so our first Pokemon ended up being Hitmontop. Pokemon I was very much not prepared for, but I want to say I had the easiest time working on the drawing for him somehow. I think actually it was the second fastest. Well, it was the fastest drawing I had a design for, because I decided that Spinny Boy, Fairy, and my brain immediately went to Ballerina. Maybe it was also because I still had Darkrai on the brain, but whatever. Yeah, so I decided to just try and make it, because unfortunately Fairy is the hardest type to pin down, because I've never played any of the Pokemon games that have had Fairy type Pokemon. I think the latest Pokemon game I played was Black and White, and I think I played most of the games before that. So yeah, no, didn't have much to go on, and looking up fairy types doesn't help, because on the one hand you get something that, yeah, no, fairy, Clefairy makes sense, and then you get keys. So I decided to try and just go with as elegant as possible. And I also decided I would include the sketches, since, I felt like with this specifically, since it's more of a character design thing, it would make the most sense to include the sketches for this sort of drawing. And I actually ended up doing them pretty quickly, since I didn't have to fuss about with human anatomy. Although you'll see when we get to the Suicune that I did have to fuss around quite a lot. Pretty sure that one took the longest. I just had to change the eyes and everything. Despite this face being mildly disturbing, it ended up looking pretty cute at the end. And, it's hard to, because I didn't want to change the Pokemon too much, since it's a type challenge, I'm not reimagining them or whatever. So, yeah, I tried my best to stay, true to, their normal look. And, I think the main thing that changed between all of them was the colors, except for Love Disc. I think Love Disc is probably the most relatively well, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I decided that I would make top look more like a crown, because why not? Just to add something. I'll say though, I think out of all of these, the Hitmontop is probably my favorite. The second one being the Love Disc, and because I had to suffer through it, but Yep, and hearing me doing that, like, I want to say Hitmontop was probably this easy because it's mostly circles and I didn't have to, like, draw hands or whatever. I feel like if I got a Machop or a Machoke or something, I would have been in partial hell. So, you know. Uh, I also, like, while working on all of these, I found that, like, overall, I think I've started drawing faster. Like, in total, all 3 drawings only took about 3 hours. To be fair, like, the shading and everything, it ends up being fairly simple. So, I don't know. I'd consider that a win. I'll say, I decided to try and make the feet here look more like, you know, ballerina shoes or whatever. Which I did not look up a reference for, so they're only partially accurate. But I mean, it turned out pretty good. Like, I think the drawing especially shines when it comes together. Also, I tried to make these claws look more like, you know, heels or whatever, but from the angle, it's hard to tell. But I mean, And here's me doing my trick with tails that are curved, because I can't do curved tails just freehand. I've tried, it doesn't work. I was tempted to change the point thing at the tip of the tail, but I didn't know what to change it to, so it's just there now. So I think, like, out of all of these, the only Pokemon I've used is Suicune before, because I don't even remember what generation Hitmontop is from. I think it's Gen 4, because I remember, I think, but I'm not certain. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. And I only remember Suicune because, oddly enough, it was one of the latest Pokemon games I played, was Pokemon Crystal. Which, it was a pretty fun game, from what I remember. I don't remember if I ever finished it, but I know I got really close if I didn't. Also, here is the shading and the colors. I really should have just included the colors, considering it didn't take long at all, but feels weird including colors, and I don't know why. One day I might start just doing, like, full videos of just my entire drawing process sped up. But for now, I like to do it cut up anyway. It makes editing a little easier for me. I guess I might as well take the time to talk about me and my Pokemon addiction. Because I've played a lot of the Pokemon games. Not as much as some, I will admit, but I've played a lot of them. And I remember one of my favorites was a more obscure one that a lot of people seem to forget existed, which was Pokemon Conquest. And it's just a game where you're taking over the world with Pokemon, and I love that concept so much. And honestly, I'm tempted to buy a DS just to play it again, because I don't currently own one anymore, and it makes me sad because I miss my DS. I played the shit out of that thing. You know. And Pokemon Conquest, and recently I watched the Jaden animation video about Pokemon Ranger, which I forget which one I had, but I remember really liking the Pokemon Ranger games. They were so good. Nice. Oh, I have a message. I have several messages. Okay. Excellent timing. But yeah, no. I played the shit out of the Pokemon Ranger games. I loved the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And then I think my first, like, actual Pokemon game was, like, the first one I ever played was Pokemon Platinum. And I think I finished it once, and I tried finishing it again, but my family sold it because they needed money, and I am still sad about that. But, you know, whatever. And I think eventually, though, I did get Pokemon Pearl instead, and I finished that one. Honestly, I'm tempted to get Diamond just so I can say I completed the set, but... And then... I think we're approaching the end of the Hitmontop one. So... yeah, just a bit more shading bits. And then the star. Which I still don't know why I included the star, but I mean... somehow I think it adds to it, you know? Someone can probably come up with a Pokedex entry for this lad. Also, yes, it does look like this in both gender forms, because Pokemon is great that way. There is Hitmontop as a Fairy-type Pokemon. And now we get to move on to Lovedisk, who I struggled with so very much. Not even funny. Lovedisk. This was probably the hardest. Well, no. I mean, I guess in terms of like designing the full design, Lovedisk was the hardest for me to figure out because I didn't have much to go off of. Its normal form is just literally a heart with an eye and like blushy cheeks. So yeah, no, I didn't really know what to do. I then thought, well, ice heart made sense. But then I was like, well, how the heck do I include the plant? And then my brain decided flowers, which I hate drawing when, well, first it tried to do these weird legs, and the legs weren't working. I found that out immediately, but then I'm like, alright, well, vines, something, maybe? And it's like, flower? It's like, initially I was just gonna do some basic-ass flower, but then I'm like, no, and let's start from freaking, the roots of things, like it was a water Pokemon, so let's do with the water lily. And ignore the fact that I had to black out my freaking files. But, so I went with the water lily, then I had to draw fucking flowers again. I drew flowers while working on the Russia portrait that I did. There's no video for it, sadly, but I did a portrait of Russia from Hetalia, and I drew sunflowers. And sunflowers are hell. And no one can tell me otherwise. But, yeah, no. I swore off flowers after that, and now here I am drawing a water lily. With a heart fish thing in it. Ice boy. Okay, though this one ended up turning out really cute. I fucking... Lovedisk's normal form is bland, but if Lovedisk looked like this, I'd like it. I also like to think that since it's a water lily thing, it probably just like kind of floats in the air. Mainly so I don't have to figure out how to put legs on this thing. And my first thought was just this thing, but with like some fucking amazing legs. Internet would 100% do that. But, I don't know, so that's what I went with. And oh, annoyingly, when I was doing the line work for this frickin' thing, I forgot to hit the anti-annihilizing? The thing that does the thing that makes coloring harder or easier. Yeah, I forgot to hit that. So you'll see me, yep, here I am right now. I had to figure out how to make it so it would be not hell to color. And what I eventually ended up doing was just copying and pasting that frickin' same black line over and over again, so the opacity would disappear on all of the, like, bits. And that's how I got that to work, without redoing anything, so pro tip, question mark? I don't know, because I was not doing the line work again. Which reminds me, I think between takes, because I finished the line work and I was showing this to the boy for approval, and I accidentally saved it as a PNG, so it didn't have layers. So I had to dig through my files to recover the one that had layers. And I am so glad that is the one that autosaved. So, that was exciting. But it's all fine now. The drawing exists. It's in its pure form. And I still have the file just in case. So, yeah. Love Disc ended up being like fairly difficult in the designing part, but like the rest of the line work for it was pretty straightforward. Because yeah. And you'd be doing all the petals. I was gonna do like the multiple layers thing that water lilies have, but it didn't pan out. Also, I draw less petals here, but I think between the line work and the coloring, between the line work and the coloring, like in that little cut out that I do, I added more. So don't worry about that. But yeah. Like, look at that cute little face. It's precious. And yeah. But still, no. I freaking hate drawing flowers. They just, like, I'm fine with trees because at least with trees you can, like, make bushels of mass. Like, I can draw trees. Normally they're just tedious as all heck. So I don't. But flowers, like, you need the petals so you can know what type of flower it is. And if you're doing symbolism, you have to, like, make that accurate or whatever. And so I hate them. But it just make me do a lot of work in something that I'd rather not be doing. And I say it's the same thing about hands, but I mean, unfortunately, it'd be very weird if I drew every person with stumps in my art style. So, you know. Also, I spent a lot of this speed paint with this drawing flipped in the wrong direction in the beginning. I don't know if anyone notices that, but yeah, no. It's supposed to go this way, I think. No, wait. Nope, it's supposed to go this way. Yeah, but I ended up liking this a lot more than I thought I would have. It's just cute. It's just cute. And then I decided to shade the ice kind of like how I do gemstones and stuff. Except for like its little snout. I don't know what that's made of. But, I don't know. It's just sweet. Yeah, I really liked how I ended up shading the ice and stuff. Honestly, I might use this one for the thumbnail since, you know, it's cute. It's cute. But yeah, no. It's a process figuring out everything for it, but I mean, you know. I also like to think that it blooms. Like, say, it'll like just close the petals or whatever at some points and then like unfold and you're like, oh, it's a love disc in a flower made of ice. As one typically says. And yeah, the shading for all of these was very straightforward. Because I didn't really feel like putting too much detail since I was doing 3 drawings in a row, basically. But, yeah. And there's a lily pad, and I think, yeah, I bothered to shade the petals, so like depth or whatever. So, you know, art person terms. Also, you might notice I did some little, like, water ripples, too, because, you know, if it didn't strike you enough that this was a lily pad. There you go. What's the other? Just looking at these Pokemon drawings just makes me want to draw Darkrai again. Frickin' Darkrai is... Oh, and that's the end of that one. But I guess I can keep talking as we move on into Suicune, who is the hardest to frickin'... I can't draw dogs. I love dogs with all my heart. I cannot draw dogs. And frickin' this is the first one where you see me struggle with posing Suicune. Like, you'll see frickin' me, because I was initially gonna do him in a sit, you know, like very proud doggo sit that felt lazy and kind of blah. There was no energy to it. And it's like, it didn't help that the pose for normal Suicune didn't feel, you know, atomically accurate. Atomically? Yes, it didn't feel like nuclear fusion kinds of accurate. It didn't feel anatomically accurate. So, you know. Then, like, figuring out how I wanted to do the fire was good, so long as I didn't end up drawing Entei. Which, honestly, I could have just drawn Entei, but I felt better than that. But no, like, then again, I think I do give Suicune a beard. A fire. Like Endeavor, but better, because it's a dog shape. But, trying to incorporate the fairy was difficult. Like, my first thought was just like, ribbons and whatever, because, you know, I was thinking more ribbons than I was like, immediately no, before that even touched the paper. So, also here's me struggling with dog face. Look at that face. It's a good face. But, you know, I immediately scrapped that and was like, okay, no. And then I think I pulled up a reference on my other monitor, and just worked from there, kind of. Like, And here's me, like, actually trying to rough out a proper shape. It's still a pretty bland shape, but I think it looks better than the others were going to have looked. I don't know. I fussed around with it a lot. I'm trying to get the eyes and everything right, to just, like, make it look like a snoot. It's very, very challenging. So, but, I was talking about Darkrai before this. Darkrai is, without a doubt, 100% my favorite Pokemon of all time. And I loved the Darkrai movie when I was a kid. I felt so bad for Darkrai, honestly. Like, the dude just fucking... I vaguely remember that movie now, actually. I loved blanking. I remember I loved the Darkrai movie, like, leaps and bounds a lot. Instantly became my favorite Pokemon, and I was so upset when I found out that Darkrai was a event Pokemon, and always has been an event Pokemon from what I remember. Like, in none of the games can you just, like, go catch a Darkrai. Despite him being, like, he appears in a couple of the games, I think. I think he appears in one of the mystery dungeons. I know he appears in one of the Pokemon Ranger games. Like, obviously, he has his event in, Gen 4. Like, in the Sinnoh region where you get on the boat and go to, like, the island or whatever to get him. I don't know. I don't know if he appeared in any other stuff. Obviously, he's in the Pokemon trading card game, but basically everyone's in the Pokemon trading card game. Which I loved to pieces as a kid. Trying to go back to it now feels like I'm trying to play preschool games, because the Pokemon trading card game is delightfully simple. Which, as someone who played Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot and now plays Hearthstone, I kind of miss that. But, I mean, hey. We're here now, suffering, and that's what matters. Some freaking use Dragon Ball Z-esque eyes that I drew. So this was me thinking I was going to change the pattern and then immediately just put the diamonds right back on its back. So, well, not immediately, but you'll see them come back. Like, anyway, it felt distinctly Suicune, so I left them. Yeah. Yep, there they are. And I think the main thing that, like, I used to push this into the realm of fairy-type Pokemon is just in the colors, which we'll get to later. And first, here's how I fix my proportions, by the way. Like, I don't know if you've noticed earlier or not, but I just use mesh and just transform it until it looks decent. And then I fix it with my line work, maybe. Because I can't be bothered to erase and redraw a leg 80 times when I can just slurp it into place. So, you know. Also, yep, beard. Beard of fire, which honestly made the coloring harder. Because I had to figure out, because the fire is coming from the front of his face, but it's also coming from the giant mane of flames on its head. And so it's like, okay, where did the dark points go? I mean, I figured it out. They're basically centered in a similar spot, but because I wanted to do color line work for it, and I think you'll see that later, unless I do it in post, which I might have tried, and it just didn't look right, because it's two colors of fire, so I gave up. I'm pretty sure it ended up being all black, and then I did a gradient over it, which is what I enjoy doing. A ridiculous amount, but you know. But yeah, no, this ended up by far being the longest drawing for the sketch alone, I'm pretty sure. I mean, like I said, I really enjoy this one, but, you know, it could have been better. I don't know. Maybe if I ever learn how to draw dogs properly, I'll go back to it, but probably not in the near future. 'Cause, look, I love dogs. I love them with all of my heart, but drawing them is pain. Drawing them is the greatest pain because they're weird, and they're bodies, and they're tubes, but they're not tubes because they're snoots. So, you know. Yeah. But, fucking, I don't know. But I actually think Suicune was one of my favorite, like, of the, I forget what the fuck they're called, but Suicune, Entei, and, like, Raikou, one of those. But, no, I remember really liking them, and Entei was my favorite. Because, of course. But, friggin' Suicune was cool, too. And it was, like, it was pretty. You know? Yeah. Also, now that I'm just staring at this face, all I can think of is just Fairy Fire, the spell from D&D, and it won't go away. It's a thought that will not leave. So, you know. And so I felt like I could have done more with the fire and the effects, but I was getting lazy. So, which is something I need to stop doing, but I mean, it probably won't happen. You know, and here's a little pause. Good pause. 10 out of 10. The legs ended up being weird shapes, but I cover it with the tail thing, which is honestly how one should solve all of their problems. When in doubt, cover it with ribbons. Yeah. And I think after I post this video, I'm going to try working on my comic stuff again, because I'm literally a page away from being able to release it. I mean, what's probably going to end up happening, though, is that I release... Oh, by the way, I'm making a webcomic. But I probably end up going to have to release it one page every month, because I know how inconsistent I am. And it'll probably be... I'm trying to think if I want it to be the first of every month, like as a treat, or the last of every month, so people have something to look forward to in these weird, messed up times. Yeah, so I'm not sure. All I know is I'm really liking how it's turning out so far. Like, these first few pages are probably, like, the lightest this comic will ever be. But it's... I don't know. I feel like I could do something good with it. I feel like I could tell an interesting story with it. I don't know if there will be a moral, per se, or anything like that, but... I don't know. I always feel it's weird having every story have to have a moral point at the end of it, because that's what a lot of stories have become in a lot of ways. Also colors, but you know, I feel like a story doesn't need a moral or like this overarching like thing to be a good story. Like, I mean, it's nice if it has those things. It's really interesting if it does, if it tries to teach you something or be a valuable lesson in life, but sometimes you just want to hear something interesting. And I mean, I guess that's what I'm going for. Maybe I'm trying to put depth in it in some places or whatever. And I'm sure some English teacher somewhere could find a moral code to this thing. While structured stories always seem to have a theme, whether or not the author intended them or not, but you know. I want to try something fun and different. I mean, maybe not fun, but definitely different. And I don't know, if it ends up being a huge dumpster fire, then, you know, I'll have tried and finished something. You know, I already have the entire plot line done and things like that. It's just turning it into comic book pages. So, I don't know, be on the lookout for that. Yeah. But in the meantime, I can, you know, just the coloring in the Suicune really, really helped bring this together. It feels more like a fairy type now instead of just a fire type. It's like got some nice pinks in there. It's like some faint yellows from the fire and stuff. And I went with red body. Because, you know, also there's a gradient for the lines. And yeah. So, but yeah, no, this is basically done. So, Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and my little tangent about the webcomic that I'm working on. But I'll probably be releasing it eventually. Who knows, maybe soon. But beyond that, since we're basically done here, I guess I have to say have a nice day. And I hope you enjoy whatever stuff I decide to post in the near future. Bye, guys.